Next, let's look back on the history of Koiwai Farm, located in Shizukuishi village of Iwate Prefecture. Koiwai Farm is located at the southern foot of Mount Iwate, on a vast site of about 30 square kilometers. It is a private farm which operates a dairy business, chicken breeding business, forestry business, and green landscaping business. About 130 years ago, this land is said to have been barren wilderness. So how did it develop into a comprehensive farm that nurtures today's rich forests? In 1888, Masaru Inoue, the director of the National Railroad for the Meiji government, visited Morioka City, Iwate Prefecture, and was fascinated by the scenery at the southern foot of Mount Iwate. It was the same barren wilderness with sparse trees. Feeling the cold westerly wind blowing down from the O mountains, in front of the land filled with volcanic ash, where Suzuki grass, brushwood, and bracken are scattered, he had a grandiose dream of opening a large farm in this desolate land. Masaru Inoue is said to be the father of Japanese railways. A stowaway traveler to England during the turbulent end of the Edo era, he studied modern civil engineering and economic geology, and after returning to Japan, laid the foundation for Japan's railway business. He visited Morioka with the purpose to inspect the extension work of the Tohoku line. In front of the barren land that spread out at the southern foot of Mount Iwate, he wanted to clear this wilderness, open a large-scale farm, and create a beautiful rural landscape. He believed this would greatly benefit the public, and made it his mission to go through with his vision. Inoue presents his idea to Gishin Ono, vice president of Nippon Railway, and asks for help. Ono then introduced him to Yanosuke Iwasaki, the second president of Mitsubishi Corporation. Yanosuke, who was impressed by Inoue's vision, is said to have agreed to the investment on the spot. Thus, in 1898, Koiwai Farm was established and Inoue had become the owner. The name Koiwai is derived from combining the surnames of Ono, Iwasaki, and Inoue. This barren land was a poorly drained wetland, with cold winds in the summer and snowstorms in the winter, hindering agricultural growth. The first step in starting the business came from planting windbreaks and building embankments to prevent this wind. At the same time, land renovations were made to make the strongly acidic soil attributed to volcanic ash in the ground an environment suitable for growing crops. These infrastructure developments continued for decades thereafter. The rich forests and green meadows that spread over Koiwai Farm are the result of these constant efforts. In 1899, the management of Koiwai Farm was passed on to the Iwasaki family from Inoue, and under the leadership of Hisaya Iwasaki, the third president of Mitsubishi, new developments were to be achieved. Hisaya Iwasaki played a major role in the development of modern industry, a main focus of the national government at the time of the Meiji era, and contributed much to promoting the agricultural and livestock industries. At Koiwai Farms, they imported high-quality breeding cattle from Europe, bred them systematically on the farm, and developed a breeding business to spread them to domestic ranches, making an enormous contribution to the promotion of livestock in Japan. He also drove forward Japan's dairy business by establishing technologies for producing milk, butter, and cheese for consumption to the masses. As the farm and agricultural business expanded, the number of employees continued to increase. Company housing was improved to create a comfortable working environment, and employees lived and worked on the farm with their families. In addition, facilities such as general stores, post offices, elementary schools, nurseries, barbers, and police stations were provided for the well-being of the families. After World War II, due to the occupational policies of the GHQ, around 10 square kilometers of farmland was released, and in response to the national policy of enhancing domestic horses, the horse breeding business that had historically produced excellent racehorses was forced to shut down from the Meiji era. However, the farm was recognized for its achievements in livestock enhancement and contributions to the agricultural industry over many years, thus being allowed to continue its operations. As an alternative to the horse breeding business, diversification within the farm was promoted, and focus shifted to the chicken breeding business in 1962, the tourism business in 1967, and the landscaping business in 1972. To adapt to the government-led shift in agricultural policy from the 1960s, the dairy business also saw some changes by ending its cow breeding operations, which had been the basis of the business for a long time, and switching over to a large-scale operation aimed at increasing dairy production. Finally, in the forestry business, in response to major social changes during periods of economic growth, such as the successive closure of iron mines, a major consumer of the forestry industry, and the rapid increase of importing foreign materials, they shifted focus to sustainability and multifaceted functions such as environmental, landscape, and resource conservation. Koiwai Farms has consistently continued its business operations centered on agriculture, forestry, and livestock production, despite significant changes in Japanese agricultural policy and internationalization of the economy. In the present, the biomass business is one of the focal points of the farm, while taking on various new challenges. At the biomass power plants operated by Biomass Power Shizukuishi Corporation, methane gas obtained from livestock excrement and processing residues of food factories are used to generate electricity. By returning the liquid fertilizer and compost produced in the process of power generation back to the cultivated land, they are practicing sustainable and recycling-oriented agriculture. Throughout the 130 years of its history, Koiwai Farms has consistently sought to coexist with nature. Diverse ecosystems can be seen in the rich forests that have been growing for over 100 years. They are also focusing on environmental conservation activities, such as providing ecotourism opportunities, where tourists can experience the splendor of the natural environment. The extraordinary and diligent effort of people has transformed barren land into rich forests, and Koiwai Farms has consistently adapted and thrived for over 130 years, continuing on its legacy to this day. Since the Meiji era, Japan has taken the first step toward becoming a modern nation, and has made a wide range of modernization efforts to build the basic shape of the country. Utilizing the knowledge and technology learned from foreign countries, Japan has become one of the world's leading economic powers by not just imitating the West, but by modernizing in its own Japanese way. Even in Iwate Prefecture, the spirit of the people who have contributed to nation building while confronting many difficulties has been passed down and continues to this day.